and we're live.
Hello, hello. We are back. We have decided that instead of just Wednesday, we are going to be streaming Wednesday and Saturday mornings. This is Ash,
Elizabeth.
and today we are going to be talking about mental health. Now, a starting warning: we are not professionals in any way, and with all the topics we're going to be talking about today, there will be a trigger warning because I don't know what will be said. So just proceed with caution, and just remember we will be talking about our own personal experiences, so it won't be the same for everyone. Hello, hello, Diggs BTW7.
I love the creative names that people come up with.
I know. All right, so we're gonna start this off strong with the subject of bullying. Great subject, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts on bullying? I know you have probably a lot to say.
So I have witnessed bullying myself, not only for others being bullied, but myself. But I didn't get bullies as bad as I think that you did in school or most people have. Um, but personally, I think that obviously I think it stems from the child and the parent, in my opinion, where I think that how somebody is raised or treated growing up, depending on if it's the parent or the family, I think that's probably why a lot of people do bully. But at the same time, that's not an excuse to bully somebody. So I definitely think you should be held accountable for what you do online or offline. And if you didn't know, there's actually in certain states things set place that if you cause somebody, um, trigger warning, to unalive themselves, then you are considered to be put in for murder or self-assisted murder, and or suicide, self-assisted suicide, I believe. So um, obviously, don't do that. But I'm really glad that we've come up in the world where now people are being held accountable for what they've done. So, what do you think about this subject?
I wasn't I wasn't bullied that that much because I only went to public school for 2 grades. But when I did go to public school, it was absolutely terrible. Jesus Christ. Uh, honestly, I agree with you. It comes from most of the time it comes from the parent and the child relationship, what's going on at home. But the more important thing is how to deal with it, or how to kind of go about what to do about it. And I'm it's been talked about a lot. Um, and there's been a lot of um, people that have ideas on uh, how to go about it, but I don't see anything being done about it. Just a lot of talking.
Yeah.
I I think the problem is that schools don't really take it seriously, for one. Most of them, especially, I know they never took it very seriously when I went to school, and now it's kids don't really trust adults, most adults in the schools. They don't trust them to really go to them and be like, hey, this person's bullying me. That, and if you tell on a bully, like back when I was in school, you were told you were a tattletale,
Oh, yeah. You were
and
really.
the bullying would get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So you were always afraid of that. I don't know that it, a lot of people talk about it. I think it's talked about too much because there's nothing being done. There's too much talking and not enough doing.
Yeah, because most of the, well, actually, the majority of the bullying can lead you into depression, and that's a very serious topic because there's a lot of people who have
Yeah,
taken their lives due to depression and bullying, and the amount of people that do is absolutely ridiculous and it shouldn't be happening. But if you are depressed and you haven't done anything and you're still alive, thank God, for one. But two, there's a lot of things you can do to help yourself. Now, this is just my personal insight and my opinion, but you can make lifestyle changes like start making art or journaling or exercise if you can, practice yoga. Um, did you know that acupuncture and massages and light therapy can actually also help you with depression? Um,
yeah,
yeah, and they say that diet changes too can also help you. So apparently, there was a study done in 2019 where young adults who changed from highly processed food and high carbs to a Mediterranean diet and focused on like vegetables, whole grains, etc., they didn't really experience that many symptoms of depression. So,
oh yeah. I I I have a lot. I would have. I don't know where to start with that.
oh, you go ahead, take it.
Fast. Yeah, it's. Uh, my brain can't think today. I'm sorry. The fast foods that we have today, all the processed stuff. There's no doubt in my mind that eating that crap makes you feel terrible,
Yeah,
absolutely terrible. But it also makes you feel good, and that's why everyone eats it because it's addictive. But also, I just wanted to add before we move on. Um, I never looked at myself in a negative way until I went to public school.
yeah, a lot of people don't.
Like I never cared about my appearance until I went to public school.
I don't think I cared
Yeah,
about my appearance either, but in public school, I didn't really. I worried about my weight, but I wasn't as worried because I was already going through some traumatic things myself in my life, so I didn't really focus on my body. I focused on my mental health, so I can't really say anything about my body image or anything like that in school.
anything else to say about the bullying?
Um, I don't think so. I think we touched some things that I definitely think that we should have.
Okay. I have no other thoughts on it. Like I said, it's talked too much and nothing's being done about it.
Exactly.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is something that I do a lot, which is venting. Uh, you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is with venting, especially online, is that if you're in a group and you vent a lot, that's all they see is that negative venting. And then some people think that you're just getting attention, wanting attention from it. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Because that is, especially if they say that to you, that is the most damaging thing that you can say to someone,
Yeah.
is that they're seeking attention. The most damaging thing that you can say to someone that has depression.
And the funny thing is, it's more like a cry for help, not wanting attention. It's more of I want somebody to care and understand what I'm going through type of thing. And it comes out like you're seeking attention, but it's not. And that's what people that don't have depression don't understand. So,
I can't think today for some reason.
it's okay. Would you like me to go into a topic?
Please.
Okay. So, I kind of want to talk about PTSD because I think that for a big reason, I don't think that you yourself know that you have PTSD. And it is a very serious topic because it's only talked about with veterans and people who have been in war or have like had really traumatizing events happen in their life, such as, a death of a family member or things like that, but it's not talked about when you have PTSD due to your family or your friends or anybody in your life that isn't immediate. Anybody you can think of. It can come from anything. And a lot of people get PTSD due to their childhood trauma. So they had a lot of trauma through their childhood that they may or may not know was traumatizing at the time. So you could have a parent that's too controlling, and that is traumatizing in and of itself. And especially when they can completely berate you or say, oh, you can't live without me, or you won't be able to do this without me. Basically, they're saying that you're dependent on them. They don't want you to be independent. And
Yeah.
that can cause a lot of problems. And PTSD actually has depression in it, anxiety. You can get bipolar you can have PTSD and bipolar at the same time. And it kind of stems from one to another. You can get PTSD and then also develop that. So I don't know. I think it's a very serious topic today because your brain, I didn't know if you knew this, but with PTSD, you can have PTSD brain where you can forget your past or certain details of your past, and you have a very forgetful brain. You can't remember things, and it can make it impossible to complete your tasks or live life every day, which turns into depression. So it's something very serious that everybody does need to take serious, and you need to do your own research because if a friend or a family member or somebody you know has it and you don't know how to help them through it, if they have a panic attack, etc., definitely do your own research because it would benefit them if you knew what it was and how to deal with it. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't want to like self-diagnose, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I would have to like talk to my counselor about that.
Oh, no, of course. I just think it's a very important thing to talk about. So if you think that's something that you have out there, then definitely seek professional help because don't listen to me. I can only tell you
Um,
my experiences.
it's you were talking about like the problems with memory.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot from my childhood.
Yeah, and that definitely is PTSD. I'm not saying that as like a self diagnosis. I'm not trying to diagnose you, but the only reason that you wouldn't remember your childhood is if you were like really, really young at the time and you really just don't remember it, 2, 3 years old. But if you're not remembering things from, middle school or high school, then that's going to become a problem because I know that from personal experience, you have witnessed a lot of traumatic events in your life. So I can tell that you probably have some reminiscence of it. So definitely talk about your experiences if you have a counselor or therapist.
Oh, with me today. I just can't come up with anything. Like usually as soon as I say something, the my brain thinks of the next thing I'm gonna say, but today I'm just like nothing up there.
It's okay. That sometimes happens, and that's sometimes just not a mental disorder. Maybe that's just you waking up from a foggy night and getting weird sleep.
D.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to our next subject if you is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the next topic I have is physical violence.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going right into that, huh? Oh boy. Um, like I said at the beginning, trigger warning. But also, if someone else is harming you in any way, it doesn't matter who it is. Go to someone you trust and tell them. Go to the police if you have to, because this is serious. Like, sorry, brain not working.
You're fine. Take your time.
Oh, jeez.
It is a very serious topic.
I don't know if it's. Did I take my medicine this morning? I don't know.
I feel that. I forgot
I
mine
don't
four
think
days
I
in a
did.
row.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Remind me what the topic is again? I have frog brain too.
Physical violence?
Okay, are you talking about with bullying or are you talking about in general with or both?
Mm, both.
So, if anything becomes physical with a bully at school, or it can even be at home, which isn't considered bullying anymore, that's considered violence and assault, which it should be assault either way, but they don't call it that. But with school violence, if anything gets physical, immediately try to tell a teacher or a trusted figure or a friend, somebody that you can trust to tell somebody else if that's the case, because that is very serious, especially with childhood endangerment. Especially when it's if it's two children or if it's an adult and a child. Um, but if you're talking about in general, I think that violence in general is not. I don't think it's necessary, but at the same time, the violence that happens is normally relationship violence or childhood violence. So if you live in a home where you get abused or malnourished or mistreated by a family member or friend or anything like that, I think that you should also seek out help, whether you go to an online support if you can't trust anybody. You can definitely get help, and yes, you might, you know, have to go through some hardships, but at least you would be safe. And it doesn't matter if I don't want them to, I forget the word that you use for it, but manipulate. So I don't want them to manipulate you into thinking that what they're doing is okay because it's not okay. And for them to even tell you that that's okay is obviously not. And your common sense and your gut feeling should tell you whether it's right or not.
A big thing that usually keeps people in that relationship or is that feeling of, oh, I can change them, or they can change, they can be a better person,
I actually
and
have,
it's that hope of them changing that keeps you there.
yeah, I have some personal experience with that. Not saying who, but I have a friend who her boyfriend is not a very good guy, and they scream and fight each other like together, and they have a daughter, and I don't think that they're treating each other the same way that they should, and they're not treating her the way that they should. And violence in itself is terrible, and when you notice something like that is happening, immediately take action. But as you were saying, sometimes she feels like she'll tell me that she feels like she still loves him and she knows he can change. She knows he can get through this and be a better person. And I told her, I said, but you need to think about your child. You need to think about you first. And I think she lacks self-love, which is a very important topic of today as well, is to have as much self-love as you possibly can, because that way things like that don't happen to you and you don't feel trapped in a situation. What else?
Thing else to say, but I forgot.
Okay. Well, if you remember by the end of this, we can always talk about it.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say I think I know who that is, but I'm not going to say.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
I guess we can go into the next topic because it ties into what we just talked about,
Yeah.
which is trust issues interfering with help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like trusting others to the point where you can't go to anyone to get help.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the problems. Because on Discord, I'm a mod on a few Discords, and I've noticed, when I was talking about, getting, them getting help, they mentioned that their trust issues are, stopping them from getting any help.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about going to a counselor, seeing a counselor, and I was telling them my personal experience of how it's nice to talk to someone that you know legally they can't go and talk behind your back.
Yeah.
And they said that their trust issues are stopping them, and they just can't trust that person or anyone.
Yeah, so trust issues are a big problem with mental health, because if you don't trust anybody due to past experiences, then the lack of help you can get is sky high, because obviously you don't trust anybody to tell what situation you're going through. And if you can't find a counselor or somebody online, like a stranger that you can just talk over the phone, then try to talk to a good friend or a good person that you just met if you really trust them that much. But trust issues, I think, stem from obviously past experiences of mistrust and misuse, and people just basically, it could come from bullying, it could come from, you know, abuse in the home, it can come from anything possibly. Yeah.
Brain no work. Sorry.
You're okay.
I just blacked out for a second.
I'm a little tired too.
Another thing that ties into that is talking to professionals.
Okay. What about him?
Just talk to a professional.
Oh.
Sorry. That's just one of the topics that I had written down, is talking to professionals.
Yeah.
There's more than one. It's not just a counselor. You can talk to a counselor. You can talk to a what are they called? Psychologist?
Yeah. Well, psychiatrist if you want medication.
Psychiatrist, sorry.
It's psychologist if you want to talk to them just personally, and it's psychiatrist if you want medication for it.
Okay, so personally, I did not know there was a difference. So that is good to know. I learned a thing today.
I think we have another viewer.
Ooh, hello.
It says we have two, so, well, one of them might be you if you're on it.
One of them is me.
So the other one is a person.
Yay!
Hello, person.
It's not just me. Yay.
Hmm.
Okay. Another topic is the mental health in the workplace. Do you want to start with that one?
Um, Let me think about it because I actually haven't thought about that. Um, well, actually, I could talk about that. Okay, so I have another personal experience for this. My significant other actually just witnessed a mental health catastrophe in his recent job where he was trying to go back to his old work where he used to work and he said that the conditions were terrible and that it just gave him this uneasy feeling of like he was stuck because he was working 10-hour shifts 4 days a week, but then they told him he had to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because of the holidays. So he felt overwhelmed. He's like, I can't do this. And the problem with it is that he was really sad about just up and quitting rather than taking out the 2 weeks because he felt like it was a bad thing on his part that he was doing that. But it's good for your mental health to do that. If it's benefiting you, then nothing else should matter, and your mental health should be the utmost importance. Um, another
Yeah.
another personal experience would be my own, where my boss, when I worked at a Circle K, I ended up having to leave there, and he's like, "You take all the time you need. Your mental health is very important. You come in whenever you can. Just let me know." And I thought that that was like the best boss I've ever had because some workplaces do not allow that, and then they can either fire you or just not care. And in those workplaces, you don't belong there then. You need to find somewhere where they're going to treat you with respect.
In retail for a long time. I've worked at a lot of places, and for some reason, I've noticed that I don't get along with some people, and to the point, I think it's people that have this idea that they're above everyone, like they're the boss.
Oh, yeah.
I'll admit I'm very bossy, so obviously I don't get along with those people. So so there's that, and then there's the whole thing with if you get sick, like a cold or something, they still want you to come in. But while you're doing your training, most places have these training videos, and in them training videos, they say not to come in if you're sick. But you're like shamed and uh and I can't think of the word. Uh, that you're shamed if you don't come into work.
Yeah. On a higher note, did you know that most schools nowadays will actually have a policy put in place where you can have up to 5 mental health days in a school year? I mean,
School.
it's a start. Most schools, but not like all of them. I'm not sure which ones specifically. You would have to do your own research, but I do know that's becoming a thing, and little progression is better than none.
Jeez. Okay, so the next one that we're going to be talking about is the what's happening on TikTok with mental disorders.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, is right. This one's optional, so we can skip this if we want if we don't want to go down that road.
I actually don't mind. I kind of talked with it about to my significant other about it this morning a little bit, so I would not mind talking about it. Unless you do. If you mind, then we can skip
I
it.
We can talk about it.
Okay. You
So I am on TikTok, but I don't really use it that often,
I do.
like personally. But but I do know what's going on with TikTok with the mental health on there, and the fact that a lot of people are faking disorders and self-diagnosing, and they're kind of like glamorizing the disorders and making it seem like, oh, it's cute and aesthetic, and
And it's so cool to be, depressed or have a certain disorder.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
So I know that it mainly comes and stems from teenagers or young adults or even kids younger than TikTok's age limit. Um, but these older kids are, they're, what is the word? They're, I just lost my train of thought again.
Sorry guys, we like just woke up.
Yeah, don't mind us. I forget what I was talking about. Hey, it's PTSD brain. I forget a lot of stuff.
Brain. I just can't think. I don't know why.
TikTok, that's what we were talking about. So,
Yeah.
these older kids are being bad role models to the younger generations because think about a 16, 17-year-old that's glamorizing having depression. Well, then an 8-year-old's going to be like, oh, that person thinks it's cool, so I think it's cool, so yeah, I have depression. They have no idea what it is. And I don't know, I just think that teaches them to grow up to be somebody who doesn't actually understand the disorder, that in and of itself is going to be damaging to the people who actually go through it.
Because I don't want to say that they're wanting attention from it. I think it's more that I don't know. It's
That they want to belong in a group of people, or they
yeah.
want to, stand out and be like, oh, I'm that different girl. I'm not like other girls, you know?
It's not they want attention simply because they want it.
Yeah.
I think it's they want attention because they want to feel like they belong.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's more of the way that they're going about it.
Yeah, they're going about it the whole complete different way, and they're actually going to get more people that don't like them more than people who, support them.
It's better to go into a support group than to go online and have these personas, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're wanting support, there are support groups.
Yeah.
There are people that are going through what you're going through, and they will understand you.
Yes. Yeah, I guess people start feeling so alone, but in reality, there's a lot of people who go through similar things that you do that they can understand your mental health. And sometimes these groups of people can actually help you better understand everything, which in return can help you control and maintain a healthy, happy lifestyle, as cringy as that sounds.
That actually reminds me of something. As if you don't know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. And I remember a long time ago when I was about first diagnosed that my mom told me that, let me think of what it was. Sorry. She told me that no one's going to understand me unless they have type 1. Like, no one's going to know what I'm going through because they're not me. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Which I think she was trying to help, but it made me feel like I was alone. Like no one understands me.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I think she was going for the opposite effect, but it didn't
It didn't come
turn
out
out that way.
Yeah.
It just made me feel like no one's gonna understand me, so what's the point in explaining or going to anyone because they're not gonna understand.
Yeah.
My favorite topic. The misconceptions of a bunch of things. ADHD, OCD, PTSD.
Oh my.
Oh yes.
Ooh, you better start with
This
this one.
topic.
Do you
Would
know
you
what
like
to say?
start?
I was gonna ask if you wanted to start this time.
Just ask if you want to start because no thoughts, head empty.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What do we got?
You can start with PTSD if you want.
Okay. Well, the first misconception is that people think that only people that have PTSD can only have PTSD if they were in the army or in the military, like, you served, because that's how you get it, is from war. No, that's not the only reason. That's a big misconception. A misconception about OCD is that, because there are different types of OCD, where one of them can be where you need to, have things in a certain manner, but then that can turn into, that's just, what is it called? I think it's perfectionism, where you want
A
everything.
perfectionist?
Yeah, perfectionist, where you want everything perfect. That's not OCD. But there are people who have OCD who want certain things in certain places, such as like their phone has to be on a certain wall, or et cetera, et cetera. But another misconception.
Basically,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
OCD is basically anxiety, but times 100.
Yeah.
And it's obsessive compulsive disorder. You feel um you feel like you have to do something a certain way.
Yeah.
You feel like like I'm trying to explain how I feel about it. Like if I don't do it this way, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and that's what
Something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel is, for instance, my favorite number is 5. So if I don't have the TV set at 5 or 55 or 50 or something, then I absolutely think that my life is going to be absolute disaster. I think I'm going to have a terrible day. My mom could die, that kind of thing.
That's the thing. It might, to other people that might sound completely like dumb and like why would you think that, but that's a common thing when you have that kind of anxiety, when you have anxiety in general. It's so it's your brain is like overthinking, so it might not seem like what's the word I'm thinking of? It might not seem like it's I can't think today. Oh my god. It might seem like it's way out there, but to us it's a possible thing that could happen. Because it's your brain is overthinking and it's like, no, this can happen. This can happen. It's a possibility.
Overthinking and anxiety don't mix very well, and it's very disastrous and very stressful.
um I can't think, I'm sorry. I give up.
No more topics?
Oh, my brain has just given up.
It's okay.
There is one more topic that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
It's the the topic of just stop being sad.
Oh,
My favorite,
yeah.
my absolute favorite topic.
Yeah, why don't you just stop being depressed?
Just stop being. Just be happy.
Yeah. There's so many happy things in the world. Just be happy.
So many happy things.
Oh my goodness. It's if it was
Until
that
you
easy.
until you watch the news, and then it gets less happy.
Oh yeah. They only pick what they want to pick. But
Then there's things like, because I have a lot of experience with this, and like you know how most people with ADHD like uh um bounce their leg.
yeah.
I do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more of like a thing that like a comfort.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but it's more like comfort, and I do it all the time without realizing it.
Yeah.
And my mom tells me all the time, just stop it,
Do you know what else?
stop
you do?
shaking your leg, stop it.
I know it's because of anxiety, but also ADHD can be involved. But biting your lips or picking your fingernails or um,
Do
any
all
kind
of
of
those.
any kind of physical thing that you do. Um, I can't think of anything else, but those
I
are the
also
main things.
rub my fingernails with my other finger.
Oh,
like,
you mean your
'cause they're
fingers
smooth.
together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too. My counselor told me about that. She's like, "What are you doing with your hands right now?" And I'm like, "I'm just rubbing my fingers together."
Slightly like rock back and forth when I'm sitting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like anytime I'm sitting, I just rock back and forth slightly. I don't know why.
That's interesting.
I've always done that.
Yeah, I've actually never heard of that one. I don't do much research, so I just never heard of it from like a personal experience.
I mean I'm sure my counselor noticed, but I haven't really brought it up because ADHD. I sit down in the counselor's office and I'm just like just completely escapes my brain and I talk about everything other than that. I should really write things down so I don't forget.
Yes, that's actually what I was going to say is what I do. When I think about something that I want to tell my counselor, I write it down in a journal and then I take that journal with me and show her what I want to talk about and then we talk about all of the topics.
Yeah.
It'll be
That's
easier.
that's also the reason why I wrote down all of our topics. I call them talking points
I did the same thing with me.
because I know I'm going to get off topic and I know I'm going to forget everything that I wanted to talk about.
Absolutely.
So that's why I have my little notepad right beside me with all my talking points. And I write little notes beside them.
That's ADHD brain for you.
That is. Very much ADHD brain. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah, me too. There's so much stuff that I was just diagnosed a couple months ago with borderline personality disorder, and I didn't know it up until yesterday because my counselor, I just had an appointment with her. She's like, "Hey, I want you to watch this video on borderline personality disorder." And she said, "Do you understand your disorder a little bit more now?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what disorder?"
Oh, wait a minute.
That was the best day of my life. But it did help me understand more of myself. So,
Yeah.
yeah. There are videos on YouTube. It was a YouTube video of a normal girl, like one of us, that was explaining how it works and how to better yourself through it. So if that's something you need to look up, just look up how to cure, or not cure, that's a terrible way to say it, how to heal from borderline personality disorder. So, if that's anybody who wants that information, there you go.
Is my counselor, she doesn't like to diagnose people with things
Yeah.
other than, obviously depression, anxiety.
Yeah.
She really doesn't like she doesn't really like diagnosing people, sorry.
Mhm.
But I feel like diagnosing people is actually kind of important
It's very important.
because how are they gonna like get the right treatment,
Mhm.
if they don't know what's going on with their brain.
Yeah.
But she did make a good point that some people like when they get a diagnosis, it becomes their personality.
Okay, yeah.
She did make a good point of that. But I also see like the positives to telling people their diagnosis.
Yeah.
Which is a good positive to that is support groups, obviously.
Mhm.
So if you have, let's say, like you said, borderline personality disorder, then you can find support groups with other people that have it. And you can talk to them and, they understand kind of what you're going through with that.
Mhm. Support groups are a big part of recovery if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah. Support groups, just in general, are just nice to have someone to talk to. Nice to talk to. But you have to remember with support groups or anything in general online with we're gonna be going back into venting, I think. I with my personal experience, I've stopped venting online because of some bad experiences.
Mhm.
Because I've had more than one bad experience with venting, and people, what's the word? I can't think.
It's okay. There's no dictionary.
Oh, jeez. I've had some bad experiences with venting online.
I've had bad experiences in person.
Sorry?
I've had some bad experiences with venting in person.
Oh, I have too. Especially in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Never vent in the workplace ever. Just never do it because your coworker will most likely, like 90%, will tell everyone else. Like, I'm sorry, but they'll tell everyone else. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give anyone anxiety or anything about it, but well, that's all the topics that I have.
And we're rushing into 50 minutes on our live chat.
Cool.
So we did pretty good today.
Been here almost an hour.
Yeah, we did good today.
Yeah, last time I think we went to like 40 minutes.
Yeah. This was a good episode. This was needed.
I agree.
It's in itself its own therapy.
Yeah, which is funny, last night, I don't know if anyone else does this, but when you're alone, you like talk to yourself, like have conversations with other people, but it's yourself.
I do that too.
Like I had an entire conversation because I was thinking of what to say on the live today. And so I was having this entire conversation in my head about some of the topics that we had, which I completely forgot about, so I have no idea, you know. It was last night. I'm not gonna remember. I should have wrote it down, but
You're slacking.
I'm sorry.
Slack-a-lackin'.
No.
Well,
Is there anything you would like to add about mental health awareness?
be aware. As cheesy as that sounds, seriously though, be aware and try to find the warning signs of if you notice somebody is depressed or anxious or feeling suicidal. Definitely be aware of those signs and try to help them or help yourself as much as you possibly can.
I feel like if I was in a better mood, we could probably talk for another hour about that.
Oh yeah, probably. If I was in a better mind state.
Yeah, if we were both in a better mindset, we would probably be able to talk about this for an extra hour or two.
Yeah.
Because I know how we are with
Yeah.
talking.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's the whole reason we started this, was because we talk a lot. And for hours, which isn't a bad thing. Because I like talking. You were waiting until I said with you, but I'm stopping there.
Oh, you're fine.
I do like talking with you, but I like talking in general.
Oh,
So
yeah.
talking with you is even better.
I like talking too.
Just stops. Like, I just like talking. Oh dear. So I think that's where we're gonna end it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end it. So we will see you guys Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to follow this channel and also my channel, which is Summer Mushrooms. I know it's not Ash, but yeah.
Have a good day, you guys.
Goodbye.